On the 29th of January 2019, a new Extreme Demon is verified by Xander556 and published to the servers by Bionox. After a few months, on March 9th, Zodiac is rated and will remain at the top 1 spot on the demon list for just under a year. Xander is praised as one of the best players of all time, having proven that it was indeed possible to achieve such a feat. Top players, namely Technical, would begin grinding the level with the prospect of becoming the first victor, and sure enough, after 1 full month of playing, Technical beat the level. But would Technical have been able to beat it if he knew the truth of what he was doing? You see, Xander never really beat Zodiac. At the beginning of June, he admitted to having speed hacked the verification footage. All of the verification was a lie, and the community fell for it hook, line and sinker. This of course meant that the actual verifier of the level was, in fact, Technical himself. Now the question is, did thinking the level was doable, thinking someone else has already done it, make it actually easier to beat? The answer, surprisingly, is yes. The placebo effect is essentially misleading someone, giving them a sugar pill instead of working medication or something similar without telling the person, and still seeing them improve in condition even though according to science they shouldn't. This can apply to a lot of other things. For instance, imagine you're aiming to verify a new top 1 Extreme Demon. You have no way of knowing if a human is capable of doing it, since something that hard has never actually been done before. That's pretty daunting, and knowing that will probably make you a lot less motivated in beating the level. Now flip things around. Imagine you're going for the exact same level, except you're told it's around top 20 in difficulty. Sure, it's still going to technically be the same difficulty, but your approach to it will be a lot more optimistic. In fact, it can make a hell of a difference to how you play. Another good example of this is Tartarus. Tartarus was top 1 on the demon list for years. It felt almost impossible to dethrone, and people began to question if it really was the human limit for Geometry Dash. It was renowned to be the pinnacle of human achievement, something very few could dream of beating, let alone anything harder. Fast forward to today, and players are regularly beating levels harder than Tartarus. In fact, as of writing this script, something harder than Tartarus has been beaten not 5, not 10, but 64 times over by many separate players. Did these levels suddenly get easier? No. Maybe one could argue that all of these are after 360Hz became allowed, but many of these completions aren't completed on 360, and for all we know, benefits from using that refresh rate could be a lot more down to the placebo effect as well than any actual benefit it gives you. Hardware certainly didn't get better over time. Players might have, but that doesn't explain all the jumpers. Clearly, something has to be making it easier for people to beat these levels, and it really is a mental change. Mental attitude alone can make Geometry Dash easy or impossible to progress in. You can have all the skill and talent in the world, but if you can't sit yourself down and play the level, often for hundreds of hours, then you're not going to be able to beat the hardest levels. That's just how it works, and it plays a much bigger part than people like to admit. You're not going to want to sit down and put all of that time to something if you're not absolutely sure you can do it. You see, I think the human limit is a lot higher than people think it is. It'll probably be decades before we even start to get close to it. So if you're a top player watching this, know that pretty much any popular or decorated upcoming top 1 is humanly possible and will one day, if verified, eventually fall out of the top 10, and you'll wonder why you ever doubted yourself in the first place. But hey, those are just my thoughts. Have a good day, guys. Peace.